Thank you. And so what I want to talk about is participatory redesign of commercial games for the foreign language classroom. And the audience would be, my familiar audience is elementary to pre-intermediate students, EFL students. So I've used the term redesign because designing games from scratch can be very tricky and especially challenging for people who are not familiar with games. And participatory because having young students take decisions, find out what game mechanics do can be pretty tough for them. So having the teacher do some planning or guide students in game design could be helpful in that way. So as you can see on the second slide, let's say, there is a gradient, blue-red gradient. So the teacher has all the decisions that have to do with finding a commercial game that could fit to certain learning objectives and adapting the rules accordingly. And then students would come into putting their own input in adapting the content, making some decisions there, and then also crafting the game, which what I found through my own practice, students love creating, drawing, these ages of 8 to 12. So I share an example on the third slide. I think the board game. So what I did there was take the idea that it's a cooperative problem-solving game and used it on a different concept that is environmental awareness. So this was the learning objective. Teaching vocabulary relating to the environment, practicing that, and applying that into a game. So Pandemic, as most of you may know, is a very complex game, has long gameplay. So I had to decide on which rules to include, what to exclude. So I took only the main idea of it, that certain locations have environmental pollution. So you have to go there and spend cards to relieve the pollution from there. So in Pandemic, you have this world map, which is, chaotic. So I asked students to design their own local map, city map, let's say, with different locations. So again, they took the decisions and they decided what locations to include in the map. You can see the slide, I guess, in slide number 5 or 6, and they designed that. And we also brainstormed together problem-solving cards for each location. So how would you do to relieve what would you do to relieve environmental pollution from the river or from the city? And they created lots of cards, and then we had the dice to determine the pollution. So this is what we came up in classroom. This was all done in less than an hour in one of my classes, and I had spent like 30 minutes thinking about how I should deliver it in the classroom and about the rules. And the game is not finished. The game is not balanced. I'm not sure if it's playable, winnable, or too easy to win. However, what I like about including games in language classroom is that it doesn't matter who the winner is or if there is a winner, but the journey while playing a game or even creating can solicit these powerful interactions, as Jonathan tapped into in social impact of games, and help students make connections not only to the language but also the real world, and help them be more active and take decisions and put them out of the comfort zone and elicit the best out of them. So that's it from me.
Tia, this is an amazing project. Thank you so much. I can't believe that you did all this in a language class as well. You know, it's huge. It's connecting games with you know, social issues and environmental issues through the second language. Yeah, just absolutely astonishing stuff. I'm really blown away. Thank you.
Welcome.
Tia has a paper on this. Would you like to tell us about your paper? I think it's published and it's available online, right?
Yes, it is. It was published on Games and Learning Alliance proceedings last year. So in that paper, I talk about this approach to participatory designing of games and why it works. And also, I analytically describe the steps one can take. There are someone can use the model in different swapping different stages. For example, one may want to draw inspiration from a game and then apply the learning objectives, or vice versa. Think of the learning objectives and then decide on an appropriate game. I welcome discussion on this. And if anyone has applied anything similar in their classes, I'd like to know.
Thanks. Yeah, for sure. Definitely keep in touch with people after the conference. So that is the end of all the talks. Thank you so much for everyone's talks. We have the Iron Chef activity coming up next, but it might be nice to take a quick break, quick toilet break, or a quick coffee break, or a quick, you know, stand up and do some squats break.